Hi there. So what I want to do today is make matchbook little notebooks. And what I've done is scoured my house. I found two actually old matchbooks, which took longer than probably it will to do this whole experiment. And then what I did was I've been saving these Numi tea boxes, and I played around with the sizing of it. So I know that I can use this flap to make a small one and this one to make the larger one. So that's what I'm gonna do, and I'll be right back. All right, so to get what I need, in essence, I'm just gonna cut this box basically in half and then cut it again along this fold. Makes things easier for me. I get a cheat fold, and you see there is this little bend here. I don't want that. I want it straight. The Matchbox edges are straight, so as straight as I can humanly cut, I'm just gonna cut up and cut up, just like that. And then same thing on this one, but I don't actually have to, because if I take my little template here, I only have one fold. So I'm just gonna I'm gonna cut off the tab up here, and I'm gonna cut off to here. So I don't have to worry about that for this guy. So I'm just gonna go do that real quick. I forgot about that. So I'm just gonna cut off here. And I believe I said this whole guy's going. Okay, so this whole tab's gonna go. All right. And then, so if you start with the big guy, I'm gonna do them the same way so I don't get confused. Take the big guy and let me do it this way. You want a piece to be folded up, and then you know you're going to use this fold because that fold is fun. So I'm going to take, and I'm just going to make a little area here. But before I do that, I'm just going to fold up a section. I'm not going to be too particular about it. I'm going to use my makeshift bone folder, which is a butter knife, I think, or a cheese knife. And I'm just going to go along that edge. And then I'm going to take this and I'm going to give it another fold, like in here, that's closer, so that what happens is it'll actually tuck underneath. And again, I'm just eyeballing. And again, I'm going to score it with my fancy cheese knife, butter knife, and then you tuck it in, and it's like that. So it's like a matchbook where you can do that. Now, I have to clean up my edges and decorate it, but that is number one. That's the long piece. Now for the short guy, if I take out my template, I actually don't need this top piece, so I'm going to cut the top piece off. And I'm actually cheating. I'm going to use this fold because it's easier to do that. And then again, I'm just going to try to eyeball it, and I'm going to fold it in and make my first fold. I wanted to do two folds at the same time. So I'm going to make this time I think I'll make my bottom fold. The thing about cardboard for me is my hands aren't the best, so cardboard can be a little bit of a pain for me to manage. All right, and I want another fold in it. So I'm just going to make another one about here. Try to maybe do it on the inside. Score it. And there is my fold. And we are just about making it there. So I think that'll be okay. And I can always decorate it so it hangs over more. So these are two. Actually, that made it a little bit bigger, so I'm happy about that. That'll still shut. All right, so what I need to do is find some decorations and find some insides, and I'll be right back. Okay, before I do that, I want to tell you I was able to make a third one. I realized that the box, I don't have another deconstructed box. Silly me, I only kept 2 and threw the other one away. This box has perforation, and I realized that if I turned it, I could use the side, the front, and then just cut off the perforation. And now I have this really cool, it's a cross between the two. This one is wider and it's a little bit bigger. I don't know, maybe it's like the same size as that one. So now we actually will have 5 we can make instead of 4. Cool. All right, so before I do that, taking my matchbook again as inspiration, I realized the size of pieces of paper that I need are going to start at the bottom of the fold and not go exceed the bottom of the first fold. So that means that the piece of paper that I need to fill this with can't be any bigger than from here to here between my fingers. And the same for this guy, between here and here. And then the same for this guy, between here and here. So I'm going to take a scrap piece of paper that I have. It's like a printable gone wrong. And I'm going to fold up and see what size pieces of paper that I need. Again, I'm going to take my inspiration from my Matchbox. And all I'm going to do after I get the papers that I want is run a staple through it. Do I decorate it? I don't know. Do I do something fancy? I don't know. Does it in one day maybe turn into a fancy closure? I don't know. Maybe that's up to someone else if it's a gift. But for right now, we're just going to go with the staple method. So I am going to go make and see what size papers I have and how I can maximize the use of regular paper. Even my tea-dyed papers are this size. So if I wind up doing one more journal-y and retro-y as opposed to more functional and just writing, I might have to accommodate the measuring just a little bit, but not that much. So I'll be right back. Okay, so what I did was use the boxes themselves and I numbered them 1 through 4. And then took my piece of paper and numbered them 1 through 4. And I traced the box by just, again, doing from there to there. And I made multiples. I don't know why, but I did. And I did that for all 4. This guy I still have to do, but as you can see, I almost have all the usable area of 1 page covered. So that's great. So what I'll try to do for him is make 1 page be as many of him as possible, if that makes any sense. So I'm going to keep going and I'll be right back. Okay, I made a decision for my one-off piece. What I'm going to do is I'm only going to go to 3.5 here. And then I'm only going to go to 2.5 here. And then that way the papers will have room to breathe. And then I won't be going outside of it. And then I found these papers in my stash, some things that I had printed out before that I never used, so I think that they will make cool pages. And then the parts with the hands and the words, I'll use them, they can be back pages, and then every other page can be maybe white on the back. So that's the plan. We'll see how that goes. Okay, now so I took my fun papers and cut them up. There's about 10 pages here. And there's about 12 pages there, and they're all sized and ready to go. I just need to do it for the rest of them and then come back. Okay, so now that I have their insides accounted for, I'm going to do one of my favorite things to do, which is distress the cardboard. My favorite thing to do is get rid of this nice shiny layer and basically rip it apart. So I don't know how much of this people would actually be interested in seeing or not, but I'm literally going to try to just get at any corner, at any piece I can, and separate the layers of cardboard. This works really good with perforated cardboard, but it's my favorite thing to do with tissue box lids. And they have the same kind of layered inside. So if you can see, if you can just get at it, get inside, you can just remove as much or as little as you want to. So I'm going to be doing that for a little while, and no need to bore you, but I'll be back when I'm done. Okay, so here are my first 3 friends and my other 2 friends stripped of their shiny layer. These were eco-friendly packaging, so just be careful when you rip things apart to be a little mindful of that. Sometimes that type of packaging does tend to fray or get a little delicate on the outside, but all this is going to be covered, so I'm not too concerned about that little hole there. So now we need to address the other side because we have print and we're not going to get away with being able to rip it away. So I have some ideas on how to camouflage, and I will do that and I will be back. All right, so I took acrylic paint. I have 2 different colors that I thought would be complementary and also junk journaly. Deco Art in Sandy Shore and Folk Art in Camel. And I just used this little sponge combo to wipe across and dab. And I like these, but these were going to be the inside, and I might keep them as the inside. I might flip them as the outside. But I've been working the joints back and forth to kind of give it a more rustic look. And then I will hit that up with ink and distress it even more. So stay tuned. I'm still working. Okay, so yesterday I made these fun Matchbox journals. And they sat overnight to dry, especially this one. It has a lot of watermelon scented glue stick. For some reason, it did not want to dry, so I had it sit in front of the wood stove. I might put it back down. But all of these are the same, literally. Let me open them up, and I'll be right back. Okay, so they literally are all inspired by a matchstick. So this was the part that's underneath. And you open them up, and then you have little pieces of different colored writing paper in there of all different sizes. And they are not fully decorated yet, but I just wanted to show you where we're at now. I believe where I left the video, I was just about sizing up pieces to cut and put in, and I did not show that, so I will tell you about that in a second, and then we'll be caught up. So I kind of tried to go for a theme with each or match in the color, and just some of them have fewer pages than others, but some have fun pages, some have more plain pages. So for this one, what I did was I took needle and thread, and I took 2 different colors. I took purple and I took green because I felt they matched the cover. And I literally poked 2 holes with an awl. And I started on this inside and I pulled it through. And then I went through, and then I went through the back to mimic a staple. I wanted one to be, since this was fabric, dyed with, or stained really with acrylic paint from painting. I thought that would be really fun since fabric on fabric, and this inside is just textured with acrylic paint in 2 different colors. So that's the first one. The second one is just blue pieces of paper. I was fooling around. These are in my Ko-Fi shop, very muted, more like this when you print them out, but I was playing around with them and you really couldn't see what they were, so I wanted to make sure they weren't as bold as this if they looked muted, if that makes any sense, because they were just literally images of tea dye paper. So anyway, for this one, I literally just took a stapler and stapled through here. And I feel like I missed or I didn't catch, so I did it again. So there's actually 2 staples here, and the front of the staple is here in the back. And you can't tell on that one because I realized after doing this one and the other one that wouldn't it be better if I just hid the staple as opposed to just leaving it stick out. So I didn't realize that until actually I did 2. But in decorating them, we can totally cover that up. So this one is just stapled. So easy enough. Once you're done, you stuff all your papers in, make sure that they fit, make sure you can fold it down and take it up and just take the stapler and ka-chunk and you're there. And this one is also a hidden one. So I thought that looked a little cleaner. You could also use a brad. I call them brads or something else. So you have a little bit of bump, but maybe you cover that up. Maybe you don't. Maybe you like that authentic matchbook style staple sticking out, and maybe you don't. So maybe you can't even tell because it's so busy. This is my favorite paper that I generated using AI because I love dandelions, aka wishies. This was a piece of, I believe, bubble dyed paper. that I used the residual just to use a couple pieces of paper. And I kind of just scrunched that up and put that on there. I told you about this one. And I told you about this one. And this one was a fun piece that I made with packing paper and had a paint pour from rock painting. And I dipped this into there. So if I can find that video, I will show you that. So the insides and outsides aren't really that decorated. I think the most complete one, and I probably won't do too much more to it, is this one. And I love it. And I have, again, this was generated also with AI. I'll put maybe, you know, I could put a word here, or when it's shut, something here. And I do realize that on this side, the dandelions are upside down, but on this side, they're not. So, I mean, it just depends on what you're going for. Again, if you're looking for a particular pattern or have something like that with words, just kind of think about where you want it to lay. You might have to cut your piece of paper in half and kind of bond it together. But anyway, so that's where they're at today, and they're super fun. So they just need to be decorated, and hopefully I remember to record that, and I'll be back. But not too hard to figure out. I also just used up another tissue box. I am not sick, but everything around here seems to make my nose run. So I thought I would make maybe a huge one later, and then, you know, 2 small long ones, because this is definitely bigger than the tea box that I had. So if I do that, that'll probably be just a quick silent video, and I'll double speed it up. So anyway, so these are here, and I'll be back with more good stuffs with decorating. Bye. Okay, so I am back. I did not film the gluing on of the pages, which I didn't realize until I was about to put this video together. If you want to see how I did that, there's another video that was posted before this one that you can watch. Basically, all of these were just glued on, no matter what type of paper they were, except for this guy here. He's fabric, so I used Fabri-Tac to put that on. That being said, I also did not film the decoration. So I can just tell you real quick, this came from a really heavy punch board. Actually, this piece and this piece. I ripped off what was on here because I didn't like the way it matched, and I just did this with paint pen and put some glitter over it. This is a vinyl transfer rub-on. This is a transfer rub-on. This is a cute little piece I got in Happy Mail. This is gauze. This is a wax seal I got in Happy Mail. And this is just a cluster that I made for a previous challenge from the same group, Savage. So just to let you know, these are the totally finished pieces and their journey. Again, if you want to see like start to finish everything, go look at the previous video I posted right before this one. But that is it. I'm putting a nail in it and calling it done. Used lots of glue again. Had a great time. Hope you guys enjoy watching, and I'll see you on the next video.